guys. Hope you're doing okay. This is an unscheduled live stream because I've been working on my blue mono deck now for a couple of streams, and I thought I'd improved it, but when actually checking it out, I see that I only have 32 lands in here, and that's a bit disappointing because I thought I had more. And as you may or may not know, the recommended baseline or sweet spot for lands is 36 lands. Yeah. So you need 36 lands in a deck of 100 cards. Yeah. So depending on how this goes, I need to add 4 more lands, and you can see those lands here now to my deck. Yeah. And for those of you who've been following me, this is the commander. So this is basically just sorceries and instances, but there are some creatures in here as well, and some artifacts to give me life and stuff. Yeah. So we're going to go through the cards one by one here, but I need to remove 4 cards in this deck to make room for 4 lands. 4 more lands. Yeah. And the sponsor of this video, well, this video ain't sponsored, I'm just kidding, but it's Parade Zero. Yeah, it's got a little bit less sugar than Urge, so trying to stay healthy for this video and drink this instead. But there is a little bit of sugar in here. Some of these don't have sugar, but this one has a little bit of it. But that's okay, because sugar ain't that bad as long as you don't get too much of it. So, yeah. Okay. I usually have to use my teeth to open these, so actually I did that now. Oh well. It is what it is today, I guess. Yeah. And sorry to Big Boss again for having the stream. I know it's late where he lives. So. But I am releasing these streams as normal videos, and I hope that helps. Okay. So, 4 lands. Let's get started. And I'm just... the deck is already finished here with 32 lands. There it is. And there it is. Yeah, I'm not having bear today, man, if that's what you mean. No. So I feel that I'm repeating myself here, but now the Big Boss has joined us, I can say it again. I got 4 lands here. I got a deck with 32 lands, so I need to increase that by 4 lands. Because the sweet spot for Commander is 36 lands, and I only got 32 in here. I thought I was done with this deck now. I thought I was finished with it, but I just discovered that I only have 32 lands, so I need to have 36. So there we go. And this is my commander. And hello to you, Big Boss. Glad that you could join me for this stream. Yeah. So whenever I cast a sorcery or an instant, this guy produces a 2-2 blue Drake creature token. Yeah. With flying. So it's pretty awesome. And deck is awesome on paper, but I still need to add 4 more lands to it to make it feasible for Commander format play. So let's get started here. I've already discussed Surveil, and I believe it's something I need to have in here. It's a fun mechanic, and I'm not going to be removing the Surveil cards. So if you see Surveil, then that's going straight to my deck. So I'm not going to be removing it. And I guess this also counts for this land here. It's got Surveil as an effect, which you can pay 3 and tap it, and then it surveils. So not going to be removing that either. This though, I guess we can remove this because put target creature on top of its owner's library. It just what can I say? It just halts the game, but it doesn't really help me much. So I'm gonna put this in my maybe pile, and the maybe pile is a pile which I am considering for removal. Yeah, so it doesn't mean that this will get removed, but I'm putting it in the pile where I'm considering it for a land instead. So this stream is not going to be about adding new cards or better cards. It's just going to be me replacing 4 cards which I find not suitable and making the deck more mana efficient with adding 4 more lands. So this is going into my maybe pile right there. What's this? It's Supreme Will. Choose one target. Counter target spell. Yeah, so this is a 2 for 1. Pretty good. I can't be removing that. And this is a land, so I can't remove lands to add lands. That's just ridiculous. You like my timing better now, Big Boss? What do you think of this land, dude? You think it's okay? You think it's good? It's a sort of a river kind of thing, and there's some floating structures in there. I don't know. There's a waterfall in the background as well. Hope you like the land, man. Oh well. Yeah, this one is pretty cool also. It gives one of my creatures lifelink. And it's an artifact, so even though the creature dies, the artifact doesn't die. It just goes back in the field. So it's pretty good, yeah. And it's got death touch as well, so which means if another creature touches it or does damage to it, it automatically dies because it dies death touch. It's what it means. Yeah. And if you need to know what lifelink means, just leave a comment and I'll explain it. Summoner's Bane. It's a counter, so I guess I'm keeping that as well. It's a land, so yeah. This is a pretty cool card. It's hard to read with the lighting here, but return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, which means it doesn't have to be a creature. I can return anything to an opponent's hand. And I also get to kick it if I want, but that's not too important. I draw a card. So this I need to keep because it doesn't return a creature, it returns anything to an opponent's hand, and then I can counter it later if I want. So I need to keep that. This is a part of my draw card scheme. I'm very dependent on drawing a lot of cards in this deck, so I guess I gotta keep this as well. And I get to make it cheaper by removing cards in my graveyard. So yeah. Each card you exile, that means remove from the game, from your graveyard while casting this spell pays for 1. So that's awesome. So I guess I gotta keep that as well. Another land, which means I'm keeping it. This is also quite good. All blue creatures get +1/+1, but I need to have it tapped, and I need to always pay 2 for it. But I'm getting a lot of drakes in play by all these spells and stuff, so having this in play just makes them a little bit stronger. and it makes me do more damage. Yeah. So keeping that. Propaganda is just a way for me to stop opponents from attacking me. They have to pay 2 for each attacking creature. Gotta keep that as well. It's a staple of blue. A creature which gives me no maximum hand size, which is good. Whenever a creature token you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So I got a lot of creature tokens, so this makes this card even stronger. Sort of board wipe thing. Return all creatures to their owner's hands. They don't die, but they go into their owner's hands. So, but it's pretty cool because it's an instant and it's a way for me to remove attacking creatures if I want to do that. Land. Another card which I need. Brainstorm. Draw 3 cards. Yeah, and I get 2 cards on the top of my library as well. In any order. This is quite cool. So I get to exile target instant or sorcery card from any graveyard, no, from your graveyard, and target instance or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard. And I get to copy those spells and play them without paying their mana costs. And then I exile this afterwards. So I can't use it again though. Land. Another staple of blue in Magic the Gathering. This is a classic card. It says interrupt instead of instant, so that means it's old. But you just target, counter a spell, really. And you pay 2 mana. So. I'm going to put this in my maybe pile. I don't really need this, to be honest. Or maybe I need it, I don't know. But I'm considering it, so I'm putting it in my maybe pile. It makes my sorceries or instances one more cheap, though. So... But when casting this isn't really helping me, because this help needs 2 blue mana. And here it says cost 1 less to cast. But that's a 1, right? So, but here I need 2. So, yeah, it's a bit complicated, but 1 doesn't necessarily mean, because I still need 2 blue mana here. This only costs for the generic mana cost. Let's see an example. For example, if I cast this and I have this in play, this costs 4 instead of 5. So just an example. Yeah. But I'm gonna put this in my maybe pile and see if I can find something different. This is a land and it's a pretty cool one. I get to tap it and sacrifice it and just search my library for land and shuffle my library, which is pretty good. Creatures you control with flying get +1/+1, and I don't think I have a creature which isn't flying in this deck. The only exception is probably my commander. He gets out counters that fly, but he doesn't fly himself, so... Yeah, you can play instances whenever, dude. So you don't have to... instances you can play on your opponent's turn, if you want. Sorceries, you can't do that. You can only play them on your turn. First dispersal. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets an attacking creature. Yeah, so it's pretty good, but the reason I'm keeping it also is the surveil, which I said I would keep in my previous video. So, and don't worry about it if you haven't watched my previous streams, Big Boss. I'm releasing the previous streams as normal videos, so you can watch them there if you want, in your own time, because they're available whenever you want to see them. Okay, land. So I guess I'm keeping that. Shapeshifter. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So I may create a copy of any creature that is in any graveyard in the game. So it's a powerful creature that opponent controls. I kill it off with a counter or something. They throw it in the graveyard, and then I can copy it with this. So it's pretty powerful. I can't remove that. This enchantment, it's a bit expensive. And even though it's kind of cool, I think I'm just going to remove it because I need to have 4 lands in here, and this is something I've considered in my previous streams that is this good or not? And now that I need more lands, then I'm putting it in my maybe pile. But it basically means that at the beginning of your upkeep, so not right away when I cast it, but the next time it's my turn, target opponent puts the top 3 cards of their library into their graveyard. Then you draw a card for each land card put into the graveyard this way. But it's not a card that has any synergy with anything else except me drawing cards, but I got enough effects in this deck to do that, so I'm putting in my maybe pile there. Yeah. Land. This is a surveil, so I'm just gonna keep it. This is also surveil, and I promised myself I wouldn't remove surveil. Yeah, there's lots of nasty cards in this deck, man. Yeah. Island. Another surveil card. And surveil, if you don't know what that means, it's look at the top 2 cards of your library. You look at the top 2 cards since it says surveil 2. Then put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest of the top of your library in any order. And I think that's an exciting effect because I get to put cards in my graveyard, and I'm going to explain why I do that later in this video. But and the cards I want to keep, I just put back in any order I want. And I also draw a card with this. So after I surveilled, the second effect is draw a card. So I draw a card. So that's pretty cool. This is also quite cool. It enhances my surveil. So it makes my surveil even more powerful. So you may look at the additional 2 cards each time you surveil. So that means instead of surveil 2, I do surveil 4 if this is in play. Yeah. Pretty awesome. Whoops, it is. It's land. Don't need to explain why I'm not removing that. Counter, cancel. Need to keep that as I'm having a lot of cancel or counter effects in here, and I need to keep those. Another surveil, and it only costs 1, so. And I can play it from a graveyard for its flashback cost. I get to play the same spell 1 more time, and then I have to exile it. So, pretty powerful. A land, which gives me an extra turn if I want to do that. It's a bit complicated because it comes into the play tapped and stuff, but in case I need to have an extra turn one time I play, then I can use this. Yeah. In my previous stream, I told everybody that I was making my deck more aggressive. This is one part of that. It's an artifact. You may choose not to untap the deck and cycles during your untap step. And I get to gain control of target creature with power less than or equal to the number of islands you control. So, and blue, as you may know, has islands, so that makes this artifact really viable. So I get to control a creature. A bit expensive, 6, but I get to draw 4 cards. So, and I want to draw cards as well. So, yeah, there's a lot going on with this deck, but it's fun. Wizard, Meletis Charlatan, it says here. The controller of target instant or sorcery spell copies it. That player may choose new targets for the copy. So, and that of course implies that I want to copy a spell I cast. So, okay, just for the hell of it, I cast this, pay the 6, and then I got this in play, and I pay 3 more. So then I play this one more time. So then I draw 8 cards instead of 4. This is quite cool. It's a wall, and when it comes into play, I get to return an instant or sorcery card from my graveyard to my hand. So I get to choose a spell there and put it in my hand. It's nice. Other than that, it's just a wall. It can't attack or anything. It just defends. And, well, it's nothing really special about it. It doesn't have flying or anything else, so it's just a extra protection, I guess. Gush, really good. And I don't have to pay the 5. I can just return 2 lands to my hand, and then it's free, and I get to draw 2 cards. Pretty obvious why I need to have that. This card is just a sort of a trolling card. I'm trolling my friends. I take control of one of their creatures in 1 turn. And I untap it, and that creature gains haste, and I can attack whatever I want with it. And when I'm done with it, the creature returns to my player's side of the battlefield, and it's tapped. So it's just a fun card to have, really. Nothing really useful about it. But maybe I'll find a useful situation where I can use it. I don't know. You have no maximum hand size. It's pretty obvious why I have to have this in here. Because I'm drawing a lot of cards, and the max card you can have in your hand after your upkeep is done is 7. So a board wipe type of deal. And this is not a creature, so it doesn't have summoning sickness. So I can just pay 4 and then pay 1 more, and then destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments with it in 1 turn. So and this is a counter target spell. I can discard 2 cards in my hand to get it back in my hand after I've done the spell. So yeah, pretty cool. Another land. Draw a card, and I get to cipher it, so I can cast it, and I draw a card and I can attach it to a creature. So when the creature does damage to a player, I get to do the same thing again. And I can do it endlessly as long as that creature doesn't die, which is pretty cool. This is one more creature which I've added, which makes my deck more aggressive. Creatures with power less than the number of islands you control can't block Kraken of the Straits. So if I have 7 lands, creatures with power less than 7 can't block it. So, pretty good. This is a card I've gone back and forth with. It's an artifact, and I get to gain life when I cast spells. And I get to pay 50 life, and I can deal 50 damage to a player. So it's pretty good, I guess. It's a bit costly, but I guess I can just have it in the deck and see what happens. So I haven't really played with it much in real life, so. Another staple of Magic the Gathering, blue. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, counter that spell if it has the same converted mana cost as the revealed card. Pretty powerful, and it gives me counters for free. Land. Pretty powerful, this as well. It's Consecrated Sphinx, and whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. So, yeah. Draw 3 cards, and I can island cycle this, so it means I discard a card and I draw a land. I search my library for a land, island card, and reveal it, and put it into my hand and shuffle. Yeah. So it's a 2-for-1 card, pretty good. Land. And another deal which makes this deck more aggressive. This card wasn't in the deck previously. Aeon Chronicler's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. And that's why there are 2 stars here. So that means if I have no cards in my hand for any reason at all, this guy dies. But if I have 20, this guy's a 20/20. Yeah. And there's also a suspend effect here, which makes it really good, really fun to play. So, yeah. Keeping that one as well. Sorcery, which means I can only play this on my turn. It's the same as the double ganger dude. Put a token into the battlefield that's a copy of target artifact or creature, and I get to cipher this as well into a creature, and I can do it all over again. Pretty powerful, and I can't remove that either. So that's a land, that's an artifact with you have no maximum hand size. I guess I gotta keep that as well. Tap X target non-land permanents. It's a good way to remove the defenses of your opponent and attack him without getting blocked. So need to keep this. Draw 2 cards. Yeah, I'm drawing a lot of cards, I know, but that's sort of the whole point of this deck. To draw a lot of cards and yeah. Land. One of the most imba cards in blue. It's Cyclonic Rift. So I get to destroy everything that my opponent controls of creatures, and I can just attack him. And don't look at the cost here, look at the overload cost, because yeah. Return each non-land permanent you don't control to their owner's hands. It would say that. Yeah. Land. And here comes the thing which makes me consider remove the other artifacts and which let me gain life. You have no maximum hand size, it says, but at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. Yeah. So do I really need that other thing then? I don't believe I do. Because mind you, that these artifacts, when I cast them, they don't trigger my commander at all. He just sits there and looks bored. My commander gets triggered when I cast instances and sorceries and stuff. Then my commander gets triggered and he produces a 2-2 blue Druid token. These artifacts don't do that, so I don't need many of them in my deck. It will be just counterproductive. So I believe I actually may go back and remove this. I want to keep this because this is pretty good because you have no maximum hand size and it says at the beginning of your upkeep you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. And I have a lot of cards in my hand, so I will be gaining life anyway. So yeah, I believe I'm actually going to do that. Let me just find the card real quick. Where was it? There we go. That's the card in question. Yeah. No, the max life in Commander format, mate, is 40. So 20 was the old. That's the old format where you play with 60 cards and you can have 4 unique. You can have 4 copies of the same card. For example, I can have 4 of this. But in Commander, that's not allowed. You can just have 1 card of each card. You got 40 life, and you got 100 cards instead of 60. And one of the cards need to be your commander. That's this dude, and it needs to say legendary creature for him to be allowed to be a commander. If it doesn't say legendary creature, he can't be a commander. That's basically the rules, man, of commander. It's pretty fun though, so you should try it. Yeah. Okay, so then I've added this to my maybe pile because I don't need to gain that much life, to be honest. Yeah, it's helpful to gain life, but that's not the main purpose of this deck. Okay. Moving on then. Thematic compass. Social life for a basic land, so I gotta keep this. And at the beginning of your end step, if you control 7 or more lands, transform Traumatic Compass. And when I transform it, I take it out of the sleeve like this, and I turn it around, and voila, here we got something else. Then it's transformed. And then it says, add a generic mana to your mana pool, and untap target attacking creature an opponent controls, and remove it from combat. Which means if a creature attacks me, I can just tap this, and then it won't be attacking anymore, and it doesn't do damage, it just sits there. Yeah. It doesn't die, but it doesn't do anything until next turn. So. Pretty helpful, and I also get to draw some extra cards with this. I get to search my library for some more lands and stuff. Yeah, so pretty cool to have this land. We're almost half through here. This is pretty good. I choose 2, and I can counter target spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand, tap all creatures your opponents control, or draw a card. And I can choose 2 of these. So pretty sick. This is the card I wanted to show you, and this is why I have this is why I draw a lot of cards all the time. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. And this is why I have the suspend effect in here. No, surveil, sorry. Because when I surveil, I get to put cards in my graveyard. Yeah. And why do I do this? Because I want to have no cards in my library. And usually when you draw a card and you don't have anything to draw, you lose the game, right? But here it says, if I have this guy in play, if you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. So this is pretty fun. It's a cool way to win the game. I just draw a lot of cards and I surveil cards into my graveyard until my library is empty, and then I have this in play and I win the game. So, pretty awesome. Just land, but it's cool. It's a cool land. It's got it's a foil, so it shines. So it's an extra cool land I wanted to show you. This is also something I've added recently. Mass manipulation. I gain control of X target creatures and or planeswalkers. So I can gain control. Yeah. You can say that again. I gain control of my target opponent's creatures. Yeah, so. But it's a sorcery, it's not an instant, so I can play it whenever I want, but it's still a really, really powerful card. Mystic Confluence, choose 3, but it also says you may choose the same mode more than once. So that means I can choose to draw a card and I choose it 3 times. So draw a card, so I draw 3 cards. Or I can counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Okay, my opponent pays 3, but then I choose it again, so it needs to pay 3 more. Yeah. But it doesn't have 3 more, he just has 2, so then the spell he cast is countered. Or I can return target creature to its owner's hand, and I can return 3 creatures if I want. So this is a really, really good card. I'm glad I have it in there in my deck. Yeah. A land which lets me return target instant or sorcery card from my graveyard on top of my library. So yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah, but it's also a land, so yeah. It enters the battlefield tapped though, so it's not as powerful as a land as a normal land is. Return all non-land permanent to their owner's hands, so not only creatures but everything else as well. So yeah. And if it's the first card I draw in my turn, then I can cast it for its miracle cost. So then it doesn't cost 5, it only costs 2. Another really aggressive aspect of this deck, you're gonna like this one, Big Boss. It's this creature right here. Island Walk, it says. This creature can't be blocked as long as defending player controls an island. And that's an old mechanic. I think that mechanic has been around for many years. I think I saw it in the 2000s as well. All islands are islands in addition to their other types, it says. And then it says, creatures without flying or island walk can't attack. So this creature alone basically just pacifies the whole battlefield of creatures, except for flying creatures. So it's a really, really powerful creature. And it's not that expensive. I think I paid like $5 for it or something like that. And it's a rare because of the golden coloring. So really, really good. And I have it in another deck as well, but I needed it here as well. So now I got 2 of them. Yeah, not 2 of them in this deck. That wouldn't be allowed, but I got 1 of them in this deck and 1 more in another deck. Land. Target player draws 2 cards, and I can also play it for its flashback if I pay 2 and pay 3 life. So yeah, I need to have a little bit of life gain in this deck, but I don't think I need that much. I don't think I need this one, included the other one. Another new card in this deck, which makes it more defensive probably. And tap all non-land permanents you control. So if I attack with all my creatures the last turn and I have this, and my opponent attacks me, then I can throw this and suddenly all my creatures get untapped and then I can block if I want. Pretty cool. Land. Bone to Ash. It's a counter spell and I get to draw a card. Washout. Awesome card, and I didn't know that, but lands also get back to my opponent's hand. So yeah. And you're gonna love this one, big boss. If Ley Line of Anticipation is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield, which means I don't have to pay for it, I can just throw it out there. You may cast spells as though they had flash. So that means... And flash basically just means it's an instant. So now I can play this whenever I want. With this in play. Yeah. Isn't that cool? I think it is kind of cool. Yeah. We're approaching the end of the deck here. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a X blue shark creature token with flying, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. Okay. Wow. So this is pretty good. Yeah. All sorts of stuff you can do with this, man. Jesus. Oh, well. Land. What do you think of this land, big boss? It's an old land from yesteryear. Yeah. Pretty cool, though. Another aggressive creature, Chasm Skulker. It says, whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Chasm Skulker. Yeah. And when it dies, I just get to put a lot of squid tokens out there. So if it had 8 life and 8 power, power is the damage and toughness is its life. So it dies, I get to put 8 1/1 blue squid creature tokens into play. So I got 8 of them now, some small ones. Yeah. So that's pretty good. So if this one gets blocked, try blocking my squid creatures now. I got 8 of them. Haha. Curious Homunculus. A really special and weird card this. Add 1 generic mana to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery, so I can't spend it on, for example, casting a creature. But at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 3 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard, transform Curious Homunculus. So yeah. So then I do that. I transform it. I turn it around, and voila. The back sides of these cards usually look like that. So, but this one doesn't do that. Here it says prowess, and who the hell knows what that means, but it's explained here on the card. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So it gets stronger, and instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Yeah, so I get rewarded for my work with this card. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Land. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. It is a permanent, not a creature, and I can buy it back. So if I pay 6, then it's an endless effect. Because it doesn't go in my graveyard. Which is awesome. Draw 3 cards, vivisection. Pretty cool. I have to sacrifice a creature though to cast it, but there we go. Another cool land with a foil effect here. Convolute, counter target spell, and this is controller pays 4, and it only costs 3 to cast. So I got a lot of counters in here, but that's the point. Ancestral Vision, and it has no cost because this has suspend. Yeah, I have to pay 1 though. So rather than cast this card from your hand, pay 1 and exile it with 4 time counters on it. And time counters, it can be anything. It can be a dice. I think it's just simpler to just do this. I got 4 like stones. And when it's my turn, I just remove on 1 stone. So there. And it's another turn, and I remove 1 more. It's my turn again, I remove 1 more, and if I survive that long, I remove 1 more, and then this spell gets cast without me paying anything. And it says, target player draws 3 cards. Okay. Oh well. So it's pretty dramatic, but I just draw 3 cards. Land. 2 more cards, and then we're done. Whenever you surveil, yeah, that's surveil, so that just gets there. And then Shaman, non-basic land, don't untap during their controls untap steps. Yeah, so I got some non-basic lands in here, but not much. So players that have only non-basic lands will be really struggling with this card in play. Okay. So what do we have here then? At the end of all things, as it were. I'll be removing this. I'll be removing this. And I can explain. I'll be removing this because I don't need that much life gain in my deck, because I already have a very powerful life gain in here from before. I'm removing this because it's a bit expensive and it doesn't have any synergy with anything else I'm doing in this deck. I can draw cards, yes, but it's just annoying and I can do better. This, I'm not too sure about this one though. It does pay for itself because my instances and sorceries become a little bit less expensive. So I'm gonna keep this. Yeah. But I'm removing this. Because just putting a creature on top of its owner's library, it just it's not really useful, and it's just suspending the inevitable. Yeah, so So yeah, that's 3 though. I need one more card to make this a go. So it is kind of cool, I guess. Maybe remove this as an additional cost to cast Vivisection, sacrifice a creature. Draw 3 cards. I already have enough draw cards effects in here, so removing that. Okay. So that is it, guys. I have removed 4 cards, these ones. And I'm gonna replacing those with lands. Which are these ones right here. Okay, thank you very much for watching this shorter stream than usual, but I needed to get this out of the way because there were too few lands in my deck for the commander format. The commander format says 36 lands, and I only had 32, so I needed to fix that. And I did this with this live stream, and thank you for very much with the help, and thank you for watching me. And Big Boss, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Love you to bits, man, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye-bye.